For centuries, papal elections have been shrouded in mystery and intrigue, but few know that some conclaves lasted for years. The most extreme case was in 1268, when cardinals took nearly 3 years to elect a pope, prompting authorities to lock them inside and even remove the building's roof to force a decision. While modern conclaves are far more structured, the fundamental question remains: how much control do the cardinals truly have in choosing a pope? And beyond the individual, what direction will the Catholic Church take in the coming years? While the Holy Spirit is believed to guide the election, history has shown that political alliances and personal strategies play a significant role. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. The College of Cardinals is composed of 252 members, but only 138 are electors, those under the age of 80 who can vote. Of these, more than 60% were appointed by Pope Francis, suggesting a tilt toward continuity. However, alliances shift, and not all Francis-appointed cardinals fully support his reforms. Regarding the Church's future, it stands at a crossroads. Pope Francis's tenure has seen major shifts, from greater pastoral inclusivity to increased interfaith dialogue. But his declining health has intensified the succession debate. The key question remains: will the Church continue along the path of reform, or will it pivot back toward tradition? The answer lies in the 3 major factions within the College of Cardinals. The Continuists aim to expand Francis's reforms, prioritizing synodality and pastoral openness. Among them, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, a seasoned Vatican diplomat, and Cardinal Luis Tagle, known for his strong ties to the Asian Catholic community, emerge as strong contenders. Opposing them are the traditionalists, advocating for a return to solemn liturgy and rigid doctrinal teachings. Figures like Cardinal Robert Sarah hold considerable influence, particularly among African cardinals who favor a more conservative approach. Caught between these two are the moderates, who seek to balance tradition with reform. Cardinal Peter Erdo and Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa are notable figures in this camp, with a reputation for fostering consensus. As the Catholic world awaits the next conclave, the real battle is not just over names. It is about the future direction of the Church itself. Among those advocating for the continuation of Pope Francis's reforms, Cardinal Pietro Parolin stands as a pivotal figure. As Secretary of State, his diplomatic expertise has shaped Vatican relations with global powers. His involvement in the 2018 Vatican-China agreement, aimed at normalizing relations with Beijing, reflects his commitment to diplomacy. While the agreement remains controversial, his ability to negotiate delicate matters makes him a leading candidate. However, his bureaucratic style and close association with Francis may alienate cardinals who prefer a less political figure. There are moments when uncertainty takes over and the path ahead seems unclear. The decisions made within the Vatican will not only shape the Church, but will also influence the faith and spiritual direction of millions. In times like these, having a deeper understanding of these changes can bring clarity, reassurance, and a renewed sense of purpose. This is exactly what The Secret of Jesus' Apparitions offers, a path to wisdom and peace through his revelations. This ebook goes into his prophecies and offers insight into what lies ahead. It's available for free in the pinned comment. Grab it now before the edition's gone. Another major contender is Cardinal Luis Tagle, often seen as a spiritual successor to Francis. His leadership in the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples places him at the heart of the Church's global expansion efforts. His close links to the Catholic communities of Asia, Africa, and Latin America make him more appealing to bishops from outside of Europe. Tegel's vision of a more inclusive and socially engaged church aligns with Francis's agenda, yet his relative youth within the College of Cardinals might work against him. Cardinal Matteo Zuppi, known for his role in international peace initiatives, represents a reformist figure with strong pastoral sensibilities. As president of the Italian Episcopal Conference, he enjoys substantial influence within the Italian Church, a traditional power center in papal elections. His background in conflict mediation, including efforts in Ukraine, adds to his appeal. While his profile is rising, some cardinals question whether he has the institutional experience required to lead the global church. Outside of Europe, Cardinal José Tolentino de Mendonça has emerged as a prominent name. His background as a theologian and his progressive theological approach have positioned him as a bridge between tradition and modernity. His work in Vatican archives and culture-related commissions aligns with Francis's emphasis on historical reflection and renewal. However, his lack of pastoral experience might hinder his chances. The African Church, an increasingly influential force, has also produced reformist voices. Cardinal Stephen Brislin of South Africa, a strong advocate for greater pastoral inclusivity, represents a growing movement within African Catholicism that seeks to balance traditional moral values with a modernized approach to church governance. His influence within African episcopal structures makes him a noteworthy figure. Despite their shared commitment to reform, these candidates face internal resistance. The Fiducia Supplicans Declaration, which allowed blessings for same-sex couples, has sparked intense debate, particularly in Africa and Eastern Europe, where more conservative views prevail. The push for greater synodality and lay participation in church governance has also raised concerns among cardinals who fear that decentralization could weaken Vatican authority. While the continuist bloc holds a numerical advantage within the College of Cardinals, the opposition is far from passive. The very reforms they support may, paradoxically, create fractures among their own ranks, leaving room for alternative voices to shape the next conclave's outcome. While the reformist faction seeks to solidify Pope Francis's legacy, the traditionalists are working to reverse many of his changes. At the forefront of this movement is Cardinal Robert Sarah, a figure known for his defense of the Latin Mass and his opposition to liturgical innovations. Conservative cardinals back him up because he is strong on teaching. This is especially true in Africa and Eastern Europe, where Catholic communities are very attached to custom. Sarah's influence has grown, but his chances are hindered by his strong critiques of the current papacy and his perceived rigidity in theological matters. In times of uncertainty, knowledge brings clarity. A free copy of our exclusive ebook is still available, but only for a short time. Check the first pinned comment before they're gone. A more viable candidate within this bloc is Cardinal Willem Eijk of the Netherlands. A staunch defender of traditional doctrine, Eijk has been a vocal critic of the German synodal path, which has advocated for progressive changes in church teaching on sexuality and governance. His insistence on doctrinal clarity and moral absolutism resonates with cardinals who fear that recent reforms have diluted the Church's theological foundations. However, his European background may limit his appeal in a conclave increasingly shaped by voices from the global South. Among the rising figures is Cardinal Raymond Burke, a prominent critic of Pope Francis, though his open defiance of the pontiff has made him a divisive figure. His role in resisting initiatives like Fiducia Supplicans has solidified his reputation as an ideological warrior rather than a unifying leader. Given his strained relationship with many cardinals, his candidacy remains highly unlikely. The growing African Catholic community has also produced traditionalist leaders with significant influence. Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo of the Democratic Republic of Congo, though initially aligned with Francis, has distanced himself from reforms that conflict with African moral perspectives. His opposition to changes regarding same-sex blessings and the role of women in church governance has made him a respected voice among conservative cardinals from the continent. His ability to navigate both theological orthodoxy and social justice concerns could position him as a compromise candidate. Another strong name is Cardinal Joseph Zen, the retired Bishop of Hong Kong. Though too old to vote, his influence in shaping conservative thought, particularly in opposition to Vatican diplomacy with China, has inspired many within the traditionalist ranks. His advocacy for persecuted Christians and his vocal stance against authoritarian regimes resonate with cardinals wary of the Church's current geopolitical alignments. This bloc sees the upcoming conclave as a decisive moment to restore doctrinal discipline and reassert the Church's historical liturgical identity. They may not have as many supporters as the reformists, but they are determined to undo the changes made in recent years. Their strategy focuses on consolidating the growing discontent among moderates, hoping to tilt the balance in their favor. While the ideological battle between reformists and traditionalists intensifies, the moderate faction remains the wild card in the upcoming conclave. These cardinals, who neither fully embrace Pope Francis's progressive vision nor seek a complete rollback of his reforms, hold a pivotal role in shaping the Church's future. Their influence is particularly significant because their votes could tilt the balance toward continuity or a return to stricter traditions. One of the most notable figures within this bloc is Cardinal Péter Erdő of Hungary. With extensive experience in canon law, Erdő is respected for his ability to navigate theological disputes without alienating either side. His role in past synods demonstrated a talent for balancing doctrinal fidelity with pastoral sensitivity. Unlike the more polarizing candidates, Erdő presents himself as a figure of stability, appealing to both reformist-leaning and conservative-leaning cardinals. However, his European background may work against him in a church that increasingly values global representation. Another prominent moderate is Cardinal Pierbattista Pizzaballa, the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, who has gained international recognition for his work in interfaith dialogue and crisis mediation. Together, his in-depth understanding of Middle Eastern issues and his skill as a diplomat have made him a unifying force in an area where religious and political tensions are high. While his commitment to preserving traditional theology remains firm, his openness to engagement with other faiths aligns with Francis's approach, making him an intriguing figure for those seeking a compromise candidate. As the Church faces historic changes, staying informed is essential. Our free ebook offers valuable insights, but copies are running out fast. Claim yours now in the first pinned comment. The African Church also has key figures within this centrist faction. Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo, though often associated with traditionalist concerns, has taken a nuanced stance on reform, supporting certain aspects of synodality while opposing others. His strong commitment to social justice problems and support for the role of the Global South in the Church make him a great pick for people who want to see leadership outside of Europe. From Asia, Cardinal Malcolm Ranjith of Sri Lanka has emerged as another moderate voice. Though once aligned with traditionalists, his pragmatic leadership and focus on balancing church governance with local cultural sensitivities have earned him support from diverse sectors. His cautious approach to reform makes him a candidate capable of bridging gaps between opposing factions. Moderates recognize that a radical shift in either direction could fracture the Church at a critical time. Their goal is to ensure doctrinal unity while allowing for gradual adaptation, making them the faction that could ultimately determine the next pope's path. Beyond internal divisions, external forces could heavily influence the next conclave. The nationality of the next pope remains a crucial factor. Historically, the Vatican has favored European pontiffs, particularly Italians, due to their familiarity with the Roman Curia. However, with the increasing prominence of Latin American, African and Asian cardinals, the balance of power is shifting. While Pope Francis' election in 2013 broke centuries of European dominance, questions remain about whether the next pope will once again come from outside Europe or if the conclave will return to tradition. The possibility of a non-European pope is particularly strong in Africa, where Catholicism has grown rapidly. Cardinals from the region, like Fridolin Ambongo, Robert Sarah, and Stephen Brislin, speak for a church that cares strongly about social problems while still having strong beliefs. The same can be said for Asia, where figures like Luis Tagle have played an essential role in Catholic expansion. A pope from these regions would symbolize a shift in focus toward the global south, reinforcing the Vatican's commitment to emerging Catholic communities. However, the logistical and political challenges of electing a pope, unfamiliar with the intricacies of the Vatican bureaucracy, may discourage such a choice. Beyond nationality, international politics could also shape the conclave's outcome. The Vatican has historically maintained diplomatic neutrality, yet its relationships with global superpowers are always under scrutiny. The Holy See's deal with China, brokered under Pope Francis and Cardinal Parolin, remains one of the most controversial agreements of recent years. While some view it as a necessary step for improving the status of Catholics in China, others see it as a concession to an authoritarian regime. Candidates with strong diplomatic backgrounds, such as Parolin, may find their association with the deal advantageous or detrimental, depending on the political climate during the election. The relationship between the Vatican and the United States has also fluctuated, depending on the administration in power. While Barack Obama's presidency maintained amicable relations with Pope Francis, the Trump administration often clashed with the pontiff over issues such as immigration policies and the environmental agenda. With political shifts occurring in Washington, the ideological stance of the next pope could affect future Vatican-US relations, particularly regarding religious freedom, social justice, and diplomatic engagements. Many have already secured their copy. Don't wait until it's too late. Get your free ebook today and gain knowledge during this crucial moment. Check the first pinned comment before they're all taken. The next conclave will not occur in a vacuum. The intersection of church politics with geopolitical tensions, international relations, and the evolving demographics of Catholicism will undoubtedly shape the decision-making process, making this one of the most unpredictable papal elections in modern history. If the continuist bloc maintains its cohesion, figures like Pietro Parolin, Luis Tagle, and Matteo Zuppi could enter the final rounds of voting with a strong advantage. Their shared vision of an inclusive, socially engaged church resonates with many electors who were appointed under Pope Francis. However, the divisions within this faction, particularly on issues like synodality and pastoral openness, could weaken their ability to secure the necessary two-thirds majority. If the moderates succeed in positioning themselves as the alternative to extreme polarization, candidates such as Peter Erdo or Pierbattista Pizzaballa could gain momentum. Their ability to navigate the tension between reformist and traditionalist views makes them appealing to those seeking stability without dramatic shifts in doctrine. Erdo's expertise in canon law and Pizzaballa's experience in interreligious dialogue could attract electors who prioritize diplomacy and unity. Yet, their moderate stance may also lead to difficulties in securing decisive support from either of the larger voting blocs. The most unpredictable outcome would be a surge in support for a traditionalist candidate, such as Robert Serra or Willem Eyck. While their appeal among conservative cardinals is undeniable, their election would mark a radical departure from Francis's legacy. A return to stricter liturgical practices and a stronger emphasis on doctrinal clarity would certainly be welcomed by many within the Church, but could also provoke resistance from progressive clergy and laity worldwide. Another wildcard factor is the potential emergence of a compromise candidate, someone who has remained relatively under the radar, but who could unite fractured factions. Historically, conclaves have produced unexpected results, with figures like John XXIII and John Paul I rising as consensus choices in times of division. If this message makes you think and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us keep creating valuable content, consider giving us a super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. If the leading candidates fail to secure widespread backing, the electors may turn to a lesser-known figure who embodies neutrality and unity. Ultimately, the selection of the next pope is not just about individual names, but about the ideological path the Church will take in the coming decades. The balance of power among reformists, moderates, and traditionalists will determine whether the Vatican continues down the path of modernization or reaffirms its historical roots. As the world awaits the white smoke, one thing remains certain. This conclave will be one of the most consequential in recent history.